Back from you will be sampling that as we continue with the broadcast. And of course, Mheshimiwa, before we come back to you, let's listen into what Governor Sakaja has to say in terms of the revenue that we managed to collect as a city, what he intends to collect, the next financial year, as well as just get to hear what he has to say about the situation himself, because he was here the other day.
Yes, he was.
He had a lot of...
Yeah, indeed.
You to PR or what are we going to call it?
No, he had a lot to say.
A lot to say, not VR, a lot to say. But of course, most of the people will always want to look at that as PR. But I mean, based on facts and figures, let's listen into that.
Lazima pia ujipange, uhakikishe uko na hela, uko na revenue. No maana last year to collect the highest amount in the history of Kenya tangu devolution ianze.
Okay.
12.8 billion. So systems
in Nairobi County.
In Nairobi County.
All right.
Tutafika hadi 50 lakini mwaka huu tunaenda 20. Unajua ni hatua kwa hatua.
Ndio.
Kuna watu wengi ambao hawalipi. Mnataka services, mnataka tupate huduma.
Ndio.
Lakini haulipi rates.
Imekimbia mbio sana. Lakini basically, from what we gather is that, the governor says that there are certain amounts of money that we have collected, around 12 billion as a county. He looks to collect 20 billion. But he equally says that in the event that Nairobians must experience a change, courtesy of devolution and change that is notable, he would require for us to be collecting around 50 billion. I don't know whether this is possible within the short time that he has, and I'm not writing him off because there's a possibility that he would come back for the second term. Mheshimiwa, briefly to you what you wanted to say in reaction to that, and we proceed.
But I don't think that is very possible to collect that amount of money, and I would encourage all of us to understand the situation in Nairobi, that up to now, since Governor Sakaja came to power, we don't know who is collecting the revenue of Nairobi.
What do you mean?
It's mentioned, Mara, it's the intelligence services, Mara, it's the KRA, Mara is the... Nobody knows. You cannot point to a company, what contract they have, what is the service level agreement. Nobody knows. It is very unfortunate for us to sit here and to talk about revenue and how much we wish to collect or we are going to collect.
Would it be very unfortunate for you to admit that as a member of county assembly, that you know that things are going south, but there's probably nothing much that you're doing to address this?
No, I've done much. If there's anybody who has made a lot of noise about this situation in Nairobi, and I think I've taken it up even up to the president, the most powerful person in this land. Yes.
All right. I as you were talking, I could see Grace Wangari shaking her head furiously. Grace, what's your reaction when you hear an admission like this? Mr. Karakacha, please pass the mic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Such an admission can really mean a lot to Kenyans when they hear this, not in a good way, but in a bad way. You are an MCA, a member of parliament. You are there. You have the opportunity to actually implement a policy that is going to serve so that there can be a way in which you can know the amount of revenue that is being collected. Nairobi County is a very big county, as most Kenyans can term it to be the capital city of Africa. So in order to change or to correct the challenges that are being faced by this county, strategic planning and investment has to take place. You as a policy maker of this county is one of them who can actually realize these changes. So we need to strategize. And one of the ways to strategize, you actually need to know the amount that is being collected. If you're saying that you don't know the institution that is collecting the revenue, we can also say that the amount that is being termed that is...
All right, that's a really good question. And I want the county secretary to respond to that. But just before that, I know Mr. Desterius has something to say. You're a businessman. Talk to us about this matter of revenue.
Microphone?
Hold the mic, please. Yes, thank you.
I'm Desterius Msoga. I represent as a renewal in Nairobi County. I want to say that to talk about issues we are facing among our county, Governor Sakaja inafaa at least atupe nafasi tupate mahali tunaweza kaa tufanyie biashara yetu, juu ukipatana na kama tuseme Kanjo, mchana mnasumbana nao, wanawafukuza hapa na pale, mkiona mnakimbia. Wanasema inafaa ukiwa na biashara yako ufanye kuanzia saa 4 hapo usiku. Na ambapo ukitaka upate kitu kidogo inafaa biashara yako ufanye mchana ambapo watu wako wengi. Huwezi fanya usiku. Usiku watu wanakuwa wachache sana.
Okay, kuna MCA wako iko hapo karibu atakuelezea hiyo. Thank you. Please note that you can respond to that. And na hii mambo inategemea ni biashara gani? Unajua biashara anyway.
Let's hear what she has to say so that at least then you can respond.
Please, Madam Morara, please talk to us and then we have the CS respond on the subject of revenue, please.
Oh, thank you. I will start with where Nairobi is. You know toddlers, how they can be troublesome, stressful. That is the state I feel Nairobi is in. The other day it rained. In a few seconds, it's already flooding. And then the worst thing is, it's flooding and then you get to the house and there's no water. You know, it doesn't make sense.
All right.
I was taking a walk at John Michuki Park. The stench from the river, man, it's so bad. So, and then I'm wondering, and then I remember one of us mentioned that whose responsibility is it to keep the city safe? I snacked in town today, and then I tried to look for a dustbin. The whole of Nairobi, I've been walking with my wrapper. There's no dustbin. Now, thank God I am a responsible citizen. Not to brag.
So you had to carry it home, eh?
Do you still have the wrapper here?
You carried it home.
You found somewhere to put it?
Yeah, I had to take it back home. So the city requires where we can dispose of the garbage, so that, because if I miss to get a dustbin, the next thing will be drop it somewhere in the trenches, and then it collects to the rivers, and then, you know, we will not be solving a problem, we will be creating another problem.
Right.
So,
all right.
And this is not to incriminate, but surprisingly, I was in town as well today, and I had a wrapper that I had to carry to the salon.
So you still have it? Before we move.
Where are the dustbins?
No, I want to respond on the same.
Okay.
Because you remember we had litter bins
Right.
in Nairobi.
Where did they disappear?
Just before the Gen Zs
Yes.
demonstrations.
Are you blaming these guys for the loss of dustbin?
We had lots of them vandalized.
Gen Z ameiba dustbin unasema.
Even the guardrails, they weren't leaving anything.
In fact,
And you know, before reinstating them, we have the procurement procedures. You know, a county is not just, you don't run it like a shop where you just go and purchase to replace. There are laws, the procurement stages and steps that are followed.
So
In reinstating, even if you vandalize,
Ms. Morara,
case study, they also vandalized our assembly precinct.
Yeah.
Up to date,
mnakalia bench.
saa hii ndio kunatengenezwa as we speak. Since
Last year, June 25th.
yes,
actually,
Okay, Bwana CS, comment on that, please. On the revenue and on this matter as well.
on this issue of vandalism, it's a big issue in this city. And it's the responsibility of every Nairobian to take care of our assets. That dustbin is not an asset of Nairobi County. It's an asset for the public. That's why today Morara walked with her trash back home. But this city had enough dustbins. They were vandalized. Today, there's a huge issue of traffic lights. Were traffic lights working? They were working properly. Where have they gone? They've been vandalized.
But Bwana CS, I think there's a legitimate concern here in terms of responsiveness. He spoke about how the governor is responsive to matters of Sherehe, and he called him Governor Sherehe. I want to ask you a direct question on this. If the trash bins were vandalized, during the protests last year.
About
more than 6 months later. What procurement process?
My brother is here. That's why I'm. You know, sometimes we have to also tell the public the truth of the process. And my brother Ali is here. He knows this. He knows for sure that the procurement process will take a few months, because the cycle of counties naturally is vandalism happened between June and September. There
after the budget.
Yes. One, the budget has already gone through.
So there are no contingency funds for such things?
When the budget is a public document. It's not a document even I need to hide from you.
So you're saying if something happens outside of what has been budgeted,
there is a big challenge. There is a big challenge in government when things happen outside what is budgeted for. That's the reality.
So you're saying the county government is not budgeting for emergencies? Emergencies
are budgeted for. But even before you draw, even national government, before it draws its emergency fund, it is a process. And that process includes also the assembly.
Yes. I wanted to ask the same question, but I
we have to do a supplementary budget.
So the supplementary
Ruth, you're next.
The supplementary budget
then we
just went through in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it has now been uploaded. In the next 1 month, we'll start seeing new bins in town. You start seeing us replacing the traffic lights. What has been vandalized? But in the first place, as a responsive
citizen, that's a promise Kenyans can expect.
As a responsive
month or so.
As a responsive citizen also.
Sorry, sir. You've just made news.
Yes.
We need to clarify that.
Yes.
Folks, in the next 1 month, you should expect new rubbish bins and functioning traffic lights.
Yes.
What else?
And more. And a better city.
Nicely tarmacked roads.
Yes. Nicely. In fact, the tarmac roads you can already.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
You can go enjoy.
All right.
It's ongoing.
Yes.
It's on record. Thank you very much. Please proceed.
So, on the revenue, I want to say this.
What is the stand? What is the clear stand? Mr. Lai says he doesn't know. Do you know?
You know, my brother, Ali, is not being truthful. or rather,
he's playing politics.
He's being economical with the truth. You know, revenue is something, again, you know, today we live in an open governance system. Most of this information is available. You can, if you are not trusting the county government, you can look at what other government agencies have reported. So it's not like it's something we can come here and lie about.
Are you saying a lie is lying?
I didn't say it. I said it's economical with the truth. He's my brother here, and he knows it. Because all of us know Nairobi reported 12.8 billion. It's a fact.
Collected by who? Who is collecting?
It's money seen. It's money in CRF. It's not money in my pocket.
I think the question is who collects it?
The county of Nairobi.
So
yes.
is that
we have? He knows where we collect.
Honest. Even the government does not know who is collecting the revenue.
Allah, stop being political. Allow yourself some decency. Allow yourself some decency.
Allah's concern was that there is no possibility that we're ever even going to collect 20 billion, let alone 50 billion. And someone mentioned Abuja, and it reminds me of the federal governments and how it operates in Nigeria. That at this very point, that we are longing to see a devolution that can, number one, fund itself, such that we are at 1585, in that the national government funds devolution 85% and 15 is coming. So how do we...
Do you know in Nairobi, he's in the process of budget making.
Okay.
The budget that we have just appropriated is a 42 billion budget. Our share from the national government is 20.8 billion. So the other part, how are we funding it? We are funding it from our own source revenue.
So there's a gap, there's a deficit.
There's a deficit, of course, of about 4 billion that we are looking for development partners who can also help us bridge the gap. But in essence,
partners only contribute.
But in essence, Nairobi County is not funded 85%. That's the truth of the matter. Again, these are facts available.
But now 85 say devolution. So we're
devolution. That's why I'm saying For Nairobi, you see, you have to look at each county.
Because we're in Nairobi, all
We're in
right.
Nairobi. I cannot
Fair
now
enough.
argue the case for Turkana.
Okay.
I can only argue with the
All right,
case for
fair enough. Now, please give Mr. Karakacha the mic. Now, the transport guys are
Even
here.
as you leave, the promise from CS is fantastic.
It is indeed.
That
You should have your mic
beans
on.
were
Yes.
collected by
Gen Zs.
Gen Zs.
Yes.
But did they also carry the huge trucks that should carry the trash?
Okay.
That's an engineer's perspective.
Valid question. Eh?
Yeah, did the Gen Zs vandalize the trucks as well?
Trucks ziko. Vile tumeongeza.
Trucks hata zimeongezwa.
Zimeongezwa.
But the
Lakini
amount of
zinakuta
waste,
ni kama-
the amount of waste that is generated within the
is also
city
Pia imeongezeka.
per day is so much.
Yes.
Okay, Wananchi, please send in your feedback on this.
There's a lot of feedback.
Let's talk about transport for a second. Mr. Mubadi and Mr. Karakacha, you deal with the two-wheelers, you deal with the six-wheelers, four-wheelers and six-wheelers and so on. Talk to us about, first of all, there was the issue with the termini. Where do you stand on that thing? Were the termini that were built appropriate for use? Do you agree with the move by the county government to decongest the capital city, the CBD, and push you into these designated spots? Why aren't you there?
Okay, to us, the terminals are not enough. And we know very well that we are businessmen, and we believe that there is no consultation. The consultation which is done is not done with the owners of the vehicles. You get that we have the cartels who are on the terminus are the ones who are consulted. And within the leadership, sometimes you will call even the county, nobody's picking the phone. So what we are saying, they build what we call a Green Park. There is no Matatus which is going to Green Park because there was no consultation. When you come to town, we believe when Kidero was there one time, we believed that we could decongest the whole of Tomboya, and we did it. And even right now, we can do it. If the leadership of the county can come and we work together with them, we are ready to help and decongest Nairobi. But when they put politics, because they are playing with politics, and if you ask me, he's talking about a deficit. Deficit is brought by corruption. So if we can try to remove corruption, we will not have deficit in planning about Nairobi. And maybe going forward, within the sector, Matatus sector, we have a plan. And we believe that if the county can sit down with us, we can share the plan and see how we can make Nairobi to be one of the best cities in the world.
All right, Mr. Bubadi, on this, at one point there was a rule, no border borders in the CBD. At another point they were saying there were designated spots. Another point they were saying your people are the key people in terms of crime within the CBD. Where do you stand on this, and what's the current situation?
The truth to be told is that somehow Nairobi County gets confused. I'm sorry, Bana CS. But, as a sector, we are organized. But the county government sometimes closes their eyes or their ears to take in what we tell them to do because of this corruption cartel that is within that the enforcement sector. You find that you tell the county government, yes, the enforcement team, because you tell them when we do A, B, C, D, everything will be okay. But for them, they leave what you have told them. Because they know when they arrest one motorcycle, they get those officers will get 1,000, 2,000 from them. So they can't accept, how do you call it? They can't accept the border to operate in an organized way. They just need that's a confusion, because through that confusion is where they can arrest you. And for example,
so you're saying the madness comes from the enforcers, not
the enforcers, not from our people. For example, you find a border rider has stopped at the traffic lights. Someone just come and remove the key. And for you to get that key back, you need 2,000 shillings. Who will accept to stop there so that they can take his key and pay you 2,000
So
shillings?
they jump the lights because
they jump the light because they know when they stop there, that officer who is in civilian, he'll come and take. And for example, the other day I found a certain two guys. They had arrested a border rider. So I just get off the car, I tapped on that guy, show me your ID. And the guy just disappeared. The other one disappeared. I held on this one. He could not show me his job ID. He could not do anything. So I told the guy, just take your key and go. Because they are going to get 3,000 they were asking for 3,000. So as the county, you need serious enforcement or you have to look at your officers to make sure that they comply. If you send them, let them comply, let them bring revenue. Even if they arrest a border rider, let them take him to the county. He pays genuinely, not getting this bribe. That's where all the money is getting lost. Number two, we agreed with the national government. There's this place called Government Square, and it is an L, Haramba Avenue, Parliament Road. And that's where they said there's no border should pass there. But you find these guys, they take that advantage and arrest riders from Moy Avenue, where all over. And what they do, they don't take them in, they get the bribe from them. So let's be organized. And we are ready to work with you as the county, we are ready to, but those cartels that you work with, don't let us shida.
Ruth wants to say something on this matter.
Yes, I think going back to the point of whoever stole, sorry, I think I'm a bit confused because like I mentioned before, I'm a person who usually uses the lower part of town. We have never had bins. In fact, if you look at Moi Avenue, we have bins. And I think it is
Mr.
wrong.
Karakata agrees.
Yeah, it is. I know because he's in the transport sector, so he knows clearly. And I can tell you that by saying that Gen Zs are the ones who stole and you do not have evidence, I don't know why we are running away from the fact that Nairobi County is suffering as a result of lack of innovation, creativity, and sustainability. Because if you walk on the roads, you're going to realize that you'll find, for a normal city, you'll actually see that like wrappers, plastic papers, and etc. But you walk on main roads and you find a whole gunia with warus, with carrot peels and everything. So you ask yourself, what is actually the problem? And the problem is that the county government has not enhanced its waste management processes. Because I will tell you, there are people who work with their dirt and just drop anywhere. I know that calls for our social responsibility, but also it calls on enforcement, just like a representative of Boda Boda has actually mentioned. If you go to Rwanda, it's very hard for you to see someone. Actually, you will not see anyone. And it calls for enforcement. The other thing is, I think the county government has done a good job. I think today my VC was emphasizing that when I'm talking, I start with good things. So let me start with the good things so that I can negotiate better. I want to believe,
good, bad, good.
Yeah, the secretary will call me and now we negotiate on a better way. They have, I think, employed more than 3,500 young people on the Green Army.
Yeah.
But after they have swept the roads, yeah, they only sweep probably in the morning. That is when I noticed them sweeping, and maybe sometimes late in the night. After they have collected the dirt, what next? And here comes my suggestion as a young person, that it is time we, as young people, get involved in innovative ways. If you call someone to a table and have a discussion on, so we have collected this dirt, we are taking this dirt to, for example, Dandora, which is almost filling up, right? And what is the next course of action? Can we build innovative hubs where we tell...
What would you suggest as a solution?
My suggestion is we've had so many young people even building cabros as a result of waste. Yeah. We have, you see now, and she has not been tapped into.
What did she say for the benefit of the viewer?
Yeah.
She did a project on that.
She has done a project
Engineer,
on the same.
I want you to jump in on this aspect. Bonasi has said something quite striking, that 40 years down the line, this is a time when we're planning for the bulge in terms of population. But we know, if you're looking at data, we know that in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to experience the beginnings of youth bulge. Okay, we're going to experience the youth bulge. We'll have a whole lot more people than we've ever had in the history of this country, in the history of this world. What would you recommend as the elements, the tenets of the city of the future? What should be included in this planning that they're doing right now?
I want to just respond to something.
You'll speak.
Just before.
Yeah.
Just something. Because you see, we are a highly consultative government. And you see, Mr. Karakacha here, every quarter I see him attending a meeting where Matatus are consulted.
Let's be very honest.
Now he comes here, says he's not been consulted. Now I wondered, I've just been wondering, if I have had to reflect whether it's you or nobody. Because you cannot be someone who attends meeting to fill the seats. You are called to that meeting to consult, to be consulted, to give your feedback, to say your words, say we can do this, we can do that. Matatus themselves have agreed with us how many number of Matatus per circle should be at the stop at any given time. And they are adhering to it. So their responsiveness also, and this is why I said governance is not a one-way traffic. We have government responsibilities of those of us in government. There's also the citizens' responsibility. When you let your responsibility go, now me as government, I have to work triple hard to make the town better for all of us. But as I do that, because I'll have to push you a bit, you now come up with a new, now they're asking me for money. Nobody's asking you for money. You're just telling me be responsible.
Say that we have a vibrant element to public participation.
Exactly. We are actually, the Nairobi City County is what has a sector purely dedicated to public participation.
All right.
And that is true, Mheshimiwa.
Let's get Mr. Karakacha, one line, please, in rebuttal, and then the engineer.
Maybe what I would say, since Governor Sakaja came into power, I've been to his office 2 times. And if you ask me, you see, he's a politician. To us, we don't need to do politics with the city. We need to have good planners. We need to have investors on the table so that you can be able to sit down and plan about the city. But when you pull cartels on the table and you want to plan the city, it becomes a problem.
Mr. Lai is nodding his head. We'll come back to you in a second. Let's hear from...
I think let me acknowledge...
In a nutshell, Bwana Engineer.
Let me acknowledge the statement from the CS that at least there is something being brought into planning. Because the planning that was done in the 70s, looking at the city in 2000, was literally thrown away by the county clerk. The political establishment decided it was not necessary to implement it. And I want to say, as professionals, we are very eager to offer our ideas to the county administration. As a president of the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, I've written twice to the governor. And we discussed this a lot. We look back at the city that was in the 80s, in the Eastlands, Jericho, wherever. And we know we have the ideas to make sure that we can have such a city. I am getting it as news that there is that effort at planning again. And my colleagues, architects, QACs and all that, we want to offer our professional guidance to the city in terms of the development of a new plan. And I will show you the letter I've written to the governor, and I do hope we can get audience, because the future of the city and the cities that you're looking at is a city with organized transport, intermodal transportation. In October, I was in Frankfurt. You step in from the tram, you get into the airport, and there is a place that you can get any other kind of transport you want. You don't have to have your car because of organized transport. You see trucks that are collecting dust bins. You train the citizens on waste segregation. We need to see a sense of you are engaging the public in all these issues, because this is our city. We want it clean and all that. But when there is no leadership being provided, it becomes everything for everyone. So the future of the city is really more organized. We have a sense of public transport. I don't have to drive my car into the city. I don't get parking. But do I have reliable public transportation and stuff like that? We have talked about the Kanchus harassing people in the streets and all that. I mean, I've been to Melbourne, and these people, they have a market where you go and shop. The streets are clean, they're organized. And then I know when I need to go and get where I'll get it. But basically, we just have to provide this leadership. Because what we have now, it is lacking. Let us be frank, let's be honest. And as professionals, we have offered to give our service.
All right.
That's
Honorable
that's
Mark,
point.
yes,
Very
good point. And we come to get your response on that, Honorable Mark, but allow us to quickly listen to what the viewer is saying back at home or wherever they're watching from. Could we have them projected? All right, let's have them projected. There are a couple of them. I mean, lots of feedback coming from you who are watching, and we appreciate that. I'll be taking a look at some of them as we wait for them to be projected. And God above all says, add a rider to the above suggestion, the minimum vehicle. I had a rider. Oh, all right. There's a suggestion that they have put up. I think we need to sample that.
Yeah, they're saying.
Batino is here again.
The minimum vehicle capacity getting to the CBD should be 30 seaters to ensure few vehicles ferrying many people. Ask whether this can be adopted. Yes or no, Mr. Karakacha?
Okay, it can be adapted, and we can have sitting and standing.
Okay.
Which will be okay.
All right. Martino is there. Martino is saying what? Nairobi is extremely...
someone else here, Jacob Nyaga, says, just speak as it is to Mr. Gashoka. He's saying, just speak as it is. Bar owners are suffering from hungry police officers and also from liquor body staff. Someone is agreeing with you.
Okay.
Someone else says here, the biggest problem we have, somebody saying police are really, Kanju are really harassing our clients. I think Mr. Demetrius, one of your people is saying that.
And then there's Martino who says, for a long time, KBS provided scheduled and reliable public transit. Matatus are not public transport anywhere in the world. Political interference because Nairobi politics thrives on dehumanization. And then we have, we don't know how, is that projected? Yes, let me check on this. Nairobi is extremely dirty and run down. Didn't plan for expansion, but biggest problem is impunity that allows all type of illegalities. You should interview people who live there. I think that we picked it up. Let's have it up again. Could you scroll up, please? Some more? Please scroll it up. Scroll. Hilda Obula also, okay. Please let them scroll up. Okay, fine, but then we have them here.
There's also another question.
Yes, yeah. George says the problem we have in Kenya, we as young people, they are taking the opportunity to harass youth, and of course, and the rider on the above suggestion, the minimum vehicle capacity getting to the CBD should be 30-seater to ensure few vehicles ferrying many people. Ask whether this can be adopted, as well as this is because, we have responded to that. It's because people get to Nairobi one person per car and fills the space that can otherwise or would be emptier and hence decongested.
All right, Mr. Desterius, you have had the proposal that your traders should, be placed in various places, like even the engineer is saying, specific streets for specific vendors, so that we can keep the city organized. Are you willing to comply?
Sasa tunaweza sema.
Just a moment, as you compose your answer, Githo from Hamza is calling. Githo, good evening.
Good evening too.
Talk to us. What is your view, please?
My name is Githo Akoina from Mariko Hamza Ward.
Yes, please.
I was requesting whether we can remove saloon cars in the CBD instead of Matatu to reduce congestion in CBD.
All right, you've gotten the question? Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Salimia watu wa Maringo Hamza. Thank you for watching. Mr. Desterius, you're making a point, please.
Yes. Kitu naweza ambia.
Shikilia mic.
Jaribu kusema shida tuko nayo hapa katika kaunti yetu ya Nairobi. Sisi kama workers huwa hatupatiwe nafasi ile ya kuuza. Tunasumbuliwa kila mara, umechukua kama vitu zile fragile kama miwani. Wale kanjo wakikuja ni mbio, unazirusha chini, zinaharibika, zinapasuka. Tena unashikwa, unapelekwa ndani, unatoa ile pesa. Sasa kuuza huko ni kama tu unauza huko kwa street kama mwizi. Kiwaona ni mbio.
Wanasema kwamba kuna sehemu zimetengwa za wachuuzi mbalimbali. Unakubaliana na huo mpango?
Sikubaliane nayo. Kulingana na sheria wao wenyewe wanasema kulingana na county workers inafaa uuze usiku kuanzia saa 4. Na hiyo saa 4 ambapo huwezi ukauza. Juu inafaa uuze mchana na uuze kwa street ndio watu wako hapo wengi ndio at least upate kitu. Juu sasa
Bwana MCA yuko hapo, kwanza huyu ndio whip wa bunge ya county.
Hii mpangilio mpya ambao tuko nayo, it's intended in helping them. because once they move to the back streets, they'll have ample time to sell their wares without any harassment. One, they wouldn't need to run from any county enforcer because we will have allocated the back streets specifically for them to trade. You see, the problem is, and you can hear from his sentiments, he still wants to go back to the
main
streets.
Yeah.
To compete.
But do you understand where he's coming from? Hapo ndio wateja wapo.
You see, that's a bad mentality.
Is there a rule that tells the wateja to follow them?
The engineer just mentioned to you, at least amebahatika kusafiri kwenda ng'ambo. Na pia hata bila kwenda ng'ambo, hapa kwetu tu Nairobi, in Karen, when they set up the pop-up markets, in the parking next to the Supreme Court, on weekends when they set up the Masai market, do the traders go there? Yes. The trader, even the customers.
Yeah, the customers, yeah.
The customers will always follow you wherever you are because they need whatever you're selling. So it's a false illusion that Mali.
Could you speak that handheld microphone so we can get you well?
I think as you're making your point, your mic.
It's a false illusion they have that ukiwa kwa pedestrian walk ati hapo ndio utauza. Our customers wasipowapata hapo watawatafuta mahali ambapo mko. Especially for the shoe shiners. If I'm a culprit because mnaamka mimi kwenda kupanguziwa viatu town, nitaenda ile sehemu ambayo wako. Na hiyo inazuia hiyo harassment na hii kusema unashikwa ndio upeane hongo. Unanipata?
Okay.
So it's a good thing they ain't sing. And as I finish, allow me to respond to Karagasha. The stakeholders meetings that we hold are for the SACCO operators. Not unless he is insinuating that those SACCO operators are the cartels.
Yes.
Because we don't call just random. We call SACCO representatives. Because as the chair of Matatu Owners Association, all Matatus fall under specific SACCOs. Finally, as I respond to the lady here, Ruth, we have a Nairobi Waste Energy company that is currently in discussion that is supposed to come up in the Dandora dam site that she's mentioned that is almost being filled up. The waste that will be collected throughout the Nairobi, all of it will be converted into energy, at least 45 megawatts,
yes.
If I'm not wrong, that's supposed to be sold to Kenya Power in return. So that shows that the governor is really trying. And also for the Green Army, because we found that the environment, or rather the cleaning of Nairobi requires immense capital or revenue. We are currently, we've just registered the Green Nairobi company that will be similar to Nairobi Water, that will solely be dealing with garbage and cleanliness of the city. We find that all these Green Army that were employed, the 3,500 of them, plus others that will be added on board, all of them will be transferred to that parastatal, the county parastatal.
Okay.
And this will greatly help in making Nairobi clean, and residents might end up paying for this service, because most that complain about the cleanliness within Nairobi are the culprits, as you've heard.
Bwana Ronaldo, good luck with adding more taxes to the people. Please let's
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You say thank you. All right. We have to take it round as we sum it
Yes.
up. Yeah.
Start with Wangare, please.
In my view, I really think the policies that are being implemented are really good. These ideas are very good. But the problem only comes when the government or the county government does not involve the public in a proper manner. When you come and just evacuate me from where I'm doing my job, this is where I am getting my livelihood. Yeah, the Kanjo are busy harassing or evacuating people without properly educating me as to why I should not be here. You can call a representative, but call the person who is selling. Let there be a representative from the person who is actually selling down there, so that their voice can also be heard. The ideas are really good, but with proper public participation, they can actually be implemented. This problem has also happened in the NFM. Without proper public participation, people end up going to the draw board so that they can actually properly align the ideas so that they can meet the public's demand and the levels that are actually.
All right, we want to keep our parting shots tight. 30 seconds for everybody, solution-based.
Yeah, we had asked the question earlier.
Proceed.
The Nairobi that you want.
Okay.
If you had one thing that could
30
change,
seconds.
one thing for the Nairobi that you want to come. Let's start with you, Mr. Mubai.
I think the Nairobi that I want is the one that has a sufficient infrastructure, whereby well-maintained roads. Because for us, we depend on the roads. We don't need any other thing. We need roads, reliable public transport. Hizo barabara zikuwa sawa, hata pikipiki zetu hazitaharibika. Sometimes we find kukinyesha, our motorbikes goes into a dip and the motorbike is gone. So I think when we have proper roads, as the CS has said, that we'll be seeing more better roads. That is what you want.
All right. What about you, sir?
Good. Governor Sakaja, polisi bado wanatusumbua. Na wanaitisha pesa mingi sana. Na saa hizo mimi nimelipa license. That is one. Number two is we want a fully devolved unit. We want to keep off from the police. You have proper enforcement officers. You have a court in Nairobi. That is what we want. So lastly is the flooding in Nairobi. A research was done in Narok, and the flooding was what contributed to the flooding was disposal of plastic bags, which went and clogged the city. Can it happen that the people of Nairobi are the ones who are throwing plastic bags? Lastly, on corruption, we want 100% digitization of licensing.
All right, we'll come to you last. Mr. Lai, the politicians in the building and the county officer will come to you last. What about you, madam? Talk to us. Your parting shot, 30 seconds if you may. One thing you'd like to change.
The Nairobi I want to see. After we are done with the talking, can we get to action? Let's have proper drainage, responsible citizens. We can do this by sensitization. We can have people cleaning our roads and everything. We can have dustbins placed in designated places in town. And this will translate to a clean river and a clean environment. And with all these, then we will have a better Nairobi. Let's take a collective responsibility to make Nairobi great.
All right, Ruth, as you prepare, Ruth, quickly, 30 seconds. The Nairobi you want, one thing.
Yes, I'll use my outfit, which is black and white. We have a very great opportunity by the white that you're seeing. It's close to my head, therefore meaning we are so close to actually getting to where we are or where we want to get to. As we look into the Green Nairobi Company, we have very good ideas, and I want to challenge the county government, and I'm happy that we have the public service of Nairobi County in particular. Please involve the young people. I don't like the faces that I see. They're beyond their retirement age, I think, in City County. It is very sad. It is very sad, and that is what is slowing down the services, for example. I want to see a highly digitized county, because this is a city. Let's maintain its standards. Thank you.
All right. Bwana Engineer, 1 point. Then please give the mic to Mr. Karakacha. And Bwana Desterius, be ready. Just 30 seconds, please. Bwana Engineer.
I think we just need a clean and safe city. That means we will have proper infrastructure, wastewater and all that. As a structural engineer, when I submit my structural drawings in the county, it is electronic and I get approvals. I don't have to bribe to get that approval done.
All right, great. Mr. Karakacha.
Okay, in terms of transport, we need to see scheduled transport in Nairobi, which within the Matatus sector, we are ready to go that direction. We need support from the national government and, if possible, the political goodwill. We need political goodwill to come on board so that they can support to make Nairobi to be cleaner.
All right. Mr. Desterius?
Mimi kitu naweza sema, nafaa serikali itenge mahali JNC watakuwa wanafanyia biashara zao juu kulingana zile vitu wanauza ni kuepukana na wizi. So that at least Gavana Sakaja akitenga mahali wafanyia hapo miradi zao, at least wizi itapungua mtaani. Juu kama mimi mwenyewe unaona nilisoma stima lakini ile bado naendelea, hakuna kazi hakuna. Sasa inabidi waanze kuuza hizo vitu at least ndio ujiendeleze masomo.
All right. Now, let's get to the first of the last speakers. Mr. Ronaldo, 30 seconds, please. A message to Kenyans.
I'd like to say that we've just finalized the digitization of Nairobi revenue streams. Those are 132 revenue streams. For those that say they need to bribe to pay. So everything is now digitized, and we are also decentralizing the customer service desks from the main city hall to the boroughs that we've already done 4 boroughs as of now. We have the new customer service desk in Dandora around there, so they don't have to come all the way to the CBD.
Service to the people where the people are.
Service to the people.
Okay.
Finally, let them, especially in waste management, just like the bar owners chair said, before you ask what the government has done for you, ask yourself what you can do for the county.
All right.
Parting shot.
Yes.
For elected leaders, especially for Governor Sakaja, is on a 5-year tenure. So the only marking scheme you can do is after the 5 years of his office.
All right.
That's when you can compare between him and the former governors.
All right.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. Mr. Alai, 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. I think what we need to regard is the premium space in Nairobi. Nairobi is a city. Nairobi is not a rural county. We need to understand the premium space. There's no reason why somebody should be hawking, whether the back street or the front street, between River Road and Uhuru Highway. There's absolutely no reason why people need to go to the markets. People need to operate from the markets. The Matatu, which is entering the city, or the buses which are entering the city, needs to be sold slots. The borders which are entering the city needs to have a special permit, which is of premium quality, and it's sold at a higher price. That is when you will bring order to the city. But when we give out, licenses based on the political goodwill we are looking for, or the kind of what we are looking for, we are going to destroy the city. The other thing is that for the traders, the traders, and especially the hawkers, the Jokali operators, the carpenters, the welders, the mechanics, and so on, they need to be all licensed. Almost 99% of them are not licensed. They're not paying any rates to the county. They are not bringing any revenue to the county. They need to count within the revenue streams of the county to give the county view.
Okay.
But we need to regard that Nairobi is a premium location.
Premium space.
It's of a premium value.
Thank you very much. Buona CS, 35 seconds, because a lot of this comes to you. If you can, quick fire. We're done.
Thank you. Nairobians, each one of us has a responsibility. We will do our part. We are building 20 new markets. We are on course. 4 of them almost completion. 6 already either procured or at various stages of development. That is space for trading, because we need to increase the trading space. We realize why people are on the streets is also because they don't have spaces. We are trying to create affordable spaces for them. Hawkers, when these opportunities arise, please move there. That's where trading needs to happen.
Okay.
Our infrastructure, we're improving on it. As we improve on it, as Nairobians, we have a responsibility. Let us keep at it. Our responsibility, especially on paying revenue. Let us not run away from paying revenue. President Kibaki used to say, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. As a city, we must move from relying from equitable share to own source revenue, and that is my responsibility, is your responsibility. Okay. Let us pay our rates, let us pay our licenses. As Nairobi, we are willing to work, we are doing it. Go to health, go to our schools. Our children today, over 300,000 children today have a hot meal every day in this city. It has never been imagined. It is done at 5 shillings.
All right.
Just tap and eat. Thank you.
All right. And then he did say that in the next 1 month, new trash bins. All right. Thank you.
All right. And we are here because of you back at home. Asante sana. Gentlemen, God above all says that this is what I asked. Would, of course, that bold move of banning all personal cars into the CBD and everyone gets in there using public means be something that would be helpful in any way? It will affect the rich, but certainly perhaps would be a solution to the problems that we have. But anyway, we appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Allow us not to mention your names and what you represent, but we appreciate indeed that you could be here with us tonight. And you back at home, thank you so much for keeping us company, as well as for the immense feedback. Of course, we could not read all of them, but we say asante sana. My name is Linda Lela. It was good having you. Do have yourself a lovely night.
And my name is Victor Muyakane. I wish you a good night full of God's blessings. And thank you to our viewers for making time, and to the guests that have come to share their insight. Okay. Good night and God bless you.
Good night.